These are some of the worst emergency landings. In this video, we'll dive into the world of emergency landings, collisions, engine failures, and more. First up is this TBM 700, which came out of nowhere and touched down right on the Minnesota interstate. The TBM ended up clipping a car, but somehow everyone walked away without a scratch. The pilot reported an engine failure, and he said he had no choice but to aim for the road. The interstate was shut down for hours, while crews hauled the plane off. Next up is the Cessna 401 that came gliding in with no landing gear after a mechanical failure left the landing gear stuck. With the gear locked up and nowhere to go, the pilot declared an emergency heading into Arlington Municipal in North Texas. Ground crews laid down a foam path, and with zero margin for error, he brought it in gear up, right on the numbers, and touched down perfectly at the start of the foam, slid the whole length on the belly without veering off, with no sparks, no bounce, just pure control. It's one of those landings where nothing works but the pilot does everything right, a smooth save in a high-stress situation. Now this, a twin-engine King Air, somehow ended up perched on top of a hangar after crashing at New Century Air Center in Kansas. It slammed into the roof of Butler Avionics around 1:20 in the afternoon. What caused the crash isn't clear yet, but both people on board made it out. One had minor injuries and was taken to the hospital. Honestly, the fact that the plane didn't fall through the roof is just as wild as the crash itself. Back in 1999, this business jet was coming in for what should have been a routine landing when the pilots realized something was wrong. The flaps wouldn't extend and the landing gear refused to deploy. There was no time for panic, no room for error, just a runway ahead and a plane that refused to play by the rules. The pilot lined it up, steady hands on the controls, and brought it down on its belly, sparks flying as the fuselage scraped along the asphalt. Flames erupted from the friction, lighting up the runway like a small fireworks show. But the jet stayed remarkably on course, sliding straight and true. Inside, the crew and passengers held their breath, every second stretching longer than it should, watching as metal and fire met concrete in a controlled chaos. And then, after what felt like an eternity, the aircraft finally came to a stop. And just like that, everyone climbed out, bruised, maybe a little shaken, but alive. An incredible display of skill and composure where every decision, every movement mattered, and the worst case scenario was avoided by inches and by nerves of steel. This Cessna didn't land on a runway. It touched down right in the middle of live traffic. No gear warning, no emergency beacon, just a turboprop weaving between cars like it belonged there. The whole thing lasted seconds, but it's the kind of moment that sticks with you. Quiet, surreal, and way too close. Not exactly what drivers expect on their morning commute. One second it's traffic, the next it's a runway. A Washington State trooper calls it one of the oddest days on the job. At first, he thought it was just a remote-controlled plane, buzzing overhead as he drove down a 4-lane road in Spanaway, Washington on a calm Thursday morning. But as the plane got closer, bigger, wobbling from side to side, he realized this was no toy. Something was very wrong. The pilot was struggling with a fuel system issue and had no choice but to make an emergency landing. Trooper Clint Thompson quickly made a U-turn, stopped traffic, and guided the pilot as the aircraft touched down right in the middle of the roadway. Sparks and wobbling wings aside, the plane slid to a safe stop, and amazingly, nobody was hurt. After a tense few moments, the pilot and trooper pushed the plane off the road, leaving drivers stunned and traffic flowing again as if nothing had happened. A mayday call, a wobbling plane, and somehow, all calm by the end. This is JetBlue Flight 292, an Airbus A320 with 140 passengers and 6 crew, coming in for an emergency landing at LAX. The front nose gear is completely sideways, tires burning from friction, smoke trailing behind the aircraft. The pilot and co-pilot line up for runway 25 left, the longest runway at LAX, and execute a soft field landing, as slow and controlled as humanly possible. The jet slides down the runway using almost the entire 12,000 feet, the nose held gently to the tarmac, sparks flying from the front gear but no collapse. Emergency crews are ready on the ground, fire trucks, ambulances, buses, every precaution in place, but the landing goes almost flawlessly. Finally, the aircraft comes to a complete stop, tires burned away, smoke rising, but the plane is intact and no fire has broken out. Passengers begin to deplane down emergency slides. attended carefully by the flight crew while rescue teams stand by in case anyone is hurt, a textbook display of composure and training under pressure, and a landing that could have ended in disaster, but didn't. A restored dive bomber, a TBM Avenger, made an unexpected splash, landing at Cocoa Beach, Florida. The plane was part of an air show when the engine suddenly cut out. The pilot, flying solo, managed to bring it down safely, skimming the water without hurting anyone. Remarkably, this plane had just returned to flight last year after a full restoration, and now investigators are looking into what caused the engine failure. A quiet day at the beach turned into a close call from the skies. A small plane had to make an emergency landing right on a golf course in Sydney. It was a Piper Cherokee on a training flight with an instructor and a student on board. You can see it flying low over the fairways before it suddenly hits the ground, scattering debris everywhere. Luckily, both of them walked away with only minor injuries, getting treatment on site. And right now, investigators are still trying to figure out what went wrong. Definitely not how you expect a Sunday at the golf course to go. A small plane made an emergency landing on Interstate 580 in the East Bay, forcing drivers to slam on their brakes. The pilot, flying with the passenger, reported a snapped fuel line mid-flight. Dashcam video shows the plane gliding down and skidding along the shoulder. Amazingly, both walked away without injuries and no cars were hit. A terrifying moment, but a miracle ending. A private twin-engine business jet lined up for Sarasota's runway with a serious problem. One of its landing gears was missing a wheel. After circling for nearly an hour to burn fuel, the pilot had no choice but to attempt a crippled landing. The aircraft touched down, sparks spraying as bare metal scraped across the pavement. For a few tense seconds, the pilot balanced the jet on its remaining wheels, trying to keep the weight off the damaged strut. But as the speed bled away, the gear finally collapsed, dragging into the dirt and forcing the jet into a sharp skid across the runway. Emergency crews rushed forward, but what happened next stunned everyone. All 4 people on board, 3 men and 1 woman, walked away without a single serious injury. A landing that could have ended in disaster instead became a testament to calm piloting under extreme pressure. One of the most advanced fighter jets in the world, an F-35B Lightning II, crashed near a runway at a naval air station in Fort Worth.
Oh, he just crashed. Oh. Oh.
Miraculously, the pilot is safe, and though the jet was destroyed, no one else was injured. A frightening mishap, but another example of training, safety protocols, and quick thinking preventing a tragedy. And that's all from us today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more aviation coming soon, and don't forget to like the video. As always, see you next time.